Bill, it's been about 45 days roughly for you joining Reliance Communications, and you've already worked on restructuring Reliance Globalcom. Take us through the consolidation that has happened. There are 3 different firms that have been brought under one umbrella. Take us through the details for that.
Sure. The Reliance Globalcom traditionally was 3 companies, Yipes, Vanco, and Flag. We've now merged those 3 companies together. We've relaunched them as Global Cloud Exchange, which is our new name. It's a Reliance company, so we'll continue to trade under the Reliance name. But we've actually taken some pretty aggressive steps to bring together our products and our capabilities around the world. So we're off to a good start, we think, in our first 45 days.
Okay. So, usually optimizing and bringing companies under one umbrella increases the kind of EBITDA margins and the kind of cost optimization that you look at. Give me a sense of what kind of benefit that would this have on the balance sheet of Globalcom?
Well, I think you're going to see very, very positive results over the next 2 to 3 quarters. I don't want to, give the forecast for our chairman up front, but I'll let him make those discussions. But I think for us, obviously we're doing this to accelerate the business, and I think you'll start to see positive results over the next few quarters as we do that. Okay,
so around 3 quarters is when you'll actually see the benefits coming into the balance sheet, and in terms of numbers at least.
You should see in the next 2 quarters you'll start to see some positive results. I think it's you don't have to wait that long.
Okay. Now, optimizing, of course, means expansion going forward. So tell me, what is the footprint right now? Of course, there are 3 companies that are now being brought under one umbrella. Once the optimization of that is done, what is the expansion that you're looking at? Say, let's take the next fiscal year.
Well, I think you'll start to see us expanding through partners in many ways. Our fiber assets in as we go across the Pacific, so we'll start looking at how we can actually build fiber from California to all the way into India, for example. And then you'll start to hear what we're going to do in terms of our Asian capabilities and how we connect India to Asia much more closely. So I think these will be some of the fiber things, but I think the more exciting stuff will be how we actually expand our network and our cloud capabilities. So we'll start to launch what we call our cloud exchanges in a number of markets around the world. You'll start to hear about that in about I would say probably at 45 days, you'll start to hear about our first cloud exchanges being deployed. And as we do that, there'll be a real buzz as we're one of the first players in the emerging markets to bring real cloud products into the marketplace.
Take us through what are the emerging markets that you're looking at. Of course, the developed economy is an important focus, but emerging market seems to be an area that most players are looking at expanding in. If you could point to point, tell me what are the markets that you would touch upon in, say, the next 1.5 years?
Well, I think right now, if you exclude Latin America, we hit most of the emerging. In fact, we hit all the emerging markets, whether it be Eastern Europe. We go through the northern part of Africa. We're in the Middle East, and we're obviously in Asia and in India. So I think if you think about the next 7 billion folks that are actually going to get on the internet, we're actually well positioned to go after them and actually to provide services into those markets. So, specifically which markets, I think you'll hear us expanding our cable capabilities into parts of the Middle East. But I think you'll also find that we're going to start to become deeper. So we'll start to be more intimate with our customers and our capabilities into many of these emerging markets. We want to be the provider for emerging market solutions. So as multinationals start to move into these places, we're going to be the guys that are going to be there for them.
Okay. Bill, I want to ask you, you've come at an important time in the company. RComm is looking at global expansion, but consolidation is also an important area that the company is focusing on. About a year ago, and this is something that I have to ask you, and I would want your clarity on that. About a year ago, there was talk about how, and RComm had actively said that they are talking to prospective investors to look at monetizing assets of Globalcom. Now that the 3 companies have been brought under the one umbrella, what is the plan in terms of monetizing right now?
I think, at RComm, I think we've always had our options. We keep our options open. We're continuing to look at strategic investors. This will be part of the process going forward. But we'll look at, we're open for business and we're open for new investors at any time. So I think, we'll continue to do that process. I think one of the reasons why they brought me into this business is I have a very good way of dealing directly with institutional investors around the world, and so I bring that access to them in addition to the capabilities that RComm already had. So I think we'll continue to look at all of our options going forward.
Would bringing the three firms under one umbrella, the kind of expansion that you're looking at, help in increasing the value of the company? Because, of course, we're talking about a valuation of $1 billion about a year and a half ago. Would this significantly increase the valuation of the firm?
I can't speak to what the valuation was a year ago, or what, but the fact of the matter is, yes, we're doing this actually to position ourselves with the highest growth portion of the market, which is cloud services. If you think about where the internet is headed, we're now extremely well positioned to be in that space, and so yes, investors should benefit from this, and our valuation should go up as we play into this space. So I think it now comes down to execution in terms of how we execute over the next 12 months. But I think we're in a great spot right now. We've got great assets, we've got great people, and we're really excited about the opportunity.
Okay. What would you be more comfortable with? It's been about 45 days for you in the firm. You've been able to understand the basic functioning. You have an idea about the kind of expansion you're looking at. What would you be more comfortable with a strategic player or maybe a financial player coming in? And also, when there is a divestation that is happening or a stake dilution that is happening, would you prefer a complete stake dilution, 100% sellout, or maybe just one shareholder coming in?
Well, I think you're asking a lot of questions here. I think we talk to everyone, and we're very close. And what is a strategic investor? What is a
strategic investor is equal to another company coming in and taking over versus a private equity or a financial.
Yeah, but I think I would say there are private equity-backed strategic investors. I mean, to be honest with you, investors are we talk to most people, and we'll continue to have those dialogues. For me to sort of say what we're going to do over the next 12 months, we're going to be very opportunistic. So, I mean, if a partnership comes to us in the right framework, we're obviously going to look at it. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're going to and I think this has been the mantra of the company for the last few years, and it will be for the next few years. I don't think anything's changed since I've arrived.
Fair enough. Any timeline that you've given to yourself or the company currently, or is there no set, say about 12 months to X number of years, or is there no set framework that you're looking at?
Framework for, our framework is, monetization is not my worry. Right now, my focus is building a sense of urgency to build relationships with our customers. If we actually build relationships with our customers, we will grow, and investors will take care of themselves, whether it be the current investor group or new investor groups. I think our opportunity is actually to go out and really execute in the marketplace and be the differentiator in the new cloud space. And I think we are going to be. So I think we're in a great space right now, and we're excited about the future.
Okay, I promise one last question on this same subject. About a year ago, again, when the announcement came in, there was a talk of one particular player that was also assisting in finding the right buyers. Now that you're in the company, is it safe to say that Samina Capital is no longer assisting the firm in getting other prospective consortium of private equity players?
Well, I think there's been a number of different processes. For me to speak to what happened a year ago, unfortunately, I wasn't here. So, I mean, the reality is, today it's we talk to investors every day, and we will continue to do so. And there's always interest in this company. I mean, it's probably one of the most unique assets on the planet. If you look at where our fiber goes, no one else does this. So I think, and if you look at our managed services portfolio of companies that we have, nobody has a portfolio like that. And if you look at our network in the United States, unrivaled. So I think you start looking at that set of assets, of course you get investor interest all the time, and we continue to do so.
Okay, but what I wanted to understand was, is Samina Capital still in the race to look at buying out or maybe helping in stake dilution?
As I said, I can't. I mean, that was a year ago. I mean, honestly, I'm not a.
You're still talking to players, so.
No, but I mean, I talk to every day. I mean, I get I'm contacted by investors. I don't want to talk to what happened a year ago because I really don't know the history, to be honest.
Okay. Next 1 year, any kind of timeline that you have in terms of capital expenditure that you're looking at? But because of course there are multiple partnerships, multiple tie-ups that you're looking at. Do you have an idea about the kind of expenditure or the capex that you have charted out for the next fiscal?
We're pretty confident that we've got the capital means within the group to actually do whatever we need to do. I don't think there's, most of the projects that we're doing are not capital-intensive projects. They're actually, if you look at cloud services, as our exchanges are deployed, they're not huge capex, but it really takes advantage of our $3 billion worth of network that we've got in place already, and our fiber assets around the world. We've actually already made the majority of the investment you have to make for cloud. So I mean, we're in a very, very good space because we're 5 years ahead of everybody else that's trying to get into this space. And we've done the hard bit, which is the fiber networks, the data centers. We're already there. And so I think for us, it's just a matter of orchestrating and executing, as I keep saying. But it's a very, very important thing for us going forward.
Okay. If I could just ask you a couple of financials, what is the current cash flow that Rel Globalcom or Global Cloud Exchange is sitting on currently? And, what is the kind of revenues that are there currently? How much can you look at? What kind of growth can you look at over the next 1 year?
Well, I think I'd love to answer that question for you, but I think we're sort of at we're right at the end of the fiscal year, so I think that this is a question that we should probably come back and talk about in the future.
Okay. Sense of one last generic question. As you said, cloud has been growing significantly. There are significant large figures that have been projected over the next 5 years. How much of the benefit of that are you expecting for the firm, Rel Globalcom as a whole, in the next, say, 1 year?
Well, I think cloud, assuming you're embracing it and you're actually in the space, it is probably the fastest segment of the internet growth right now. So if you look at it, it's going from essentially a 100 billion to a 500 billion market in the next 3 years. And in India will be a huge beneficiary. So I think, will you see the benefit in RComm's numbers in the next 2 quarters? Maybe not. But I think, if you look at the company over the next 2 years, it's extremely well positioned. It's one of the few fiber operators in the country that really owns their own fiber. It's got a great wireless capability, a great data center capability, and then tremendous international assets. So I think the company is extremely well positioned to be in the cloud space as well. I mean, I don't think we'll keep our international assets today as Global Cloud Exchange. I don't think Neil's looking to change the name of the big company, but I think the reality is, the macro trends in the space are very, very good for the company as a whole, and I think the prospects over the next 24, 36 months are terrific, and I think it's going to be an exciting time to be watching RComm.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to CNBC TV 18, Bill, and good luck for your way forward in the firm.
Thank you. Thank you very much.